So the next thing, right, so A5, write a balanced redox reactions from the following half reactions, right? So looking at these right here, right, all you have to do is just simply make sure that you balance everything. And one important thing that you always have to balance is the number of electrons that you have in these scenarios. And so, and I think one thing that would kind of trip some people up, especially in terms of, on Piazza, right, is like, oh, well, which side, should it be, right? Like, if I'm not giving you the like what the actual like cell potential is for that specific reaction, like, you're not going to be able to really tell, right? So either direction is fine as long as things are balanced, right? But if we're looking at this right here, right, we have the reaction of Br2 plus 2 electrons forms 2 bromide ions. And then we also have the other half reaction, which is lead 2 plus 2 H2O yields lead oxide plus 4H plus 2 electrons in this case. And so this is a pretty straightforward one, right? So the 2 electrons are going to balance each other out in those cases. And so then now the full reaction just simply becomes Br2 plus lead 2 plus 2 H2O yields 2 Br minus plus lead oxide plus 4H plus in that case, right? So that one's pretty straightforward. The next one can be a little bit tricky because the way that it's written out is it has the electrons on both of the same sides and they're not equivalent. And so what you have to do is you have to choose one of them, flip it around. And so I'm just going to choose the bottom one and flip that one around, right? So if I flip this around, what I get is 2H2O yields 4H plus O2 plus 4 electrons in that case. And so now, right, looking at it, we have 4 electrons on the right side for the bottom one. We have 8 electrons up top. And so now I just need to simply, multiply this by 2. So what I get is 4H2O yields 8H plus 2 O2 plus 8 electrons. So now the electrons cancel. In those cases, the H pluses cancel. In those cases, the 4 H2Os cancel right here in those two cases as well. Right? And so all we're left with is IO4 minus plus nothing, right? Yields I minus plus 2O2. Which matches, right? So IO4 minus forms, right? So I can just, so I'm not messing myself up by looking at it, right? I minus plus 2O2, right? And so that right there is what the full reaction looks like. And it makes sense, right? Everything is balanced, right? The number of oxygens are the same on the product reactant side. The number of iodine is the same on both sides, right? The overall charge is the same on both sides. So everything matches, right? And same thing, I didn't talk about that up top, right? So up top, the charges and everything like that all add up as well as, right? Because you have 2 plus on the left side, on the right side, you have 2 negative ions, but you have 4 positive ions. And so, right, so that cancels out to being, a total of 2 positive on the product side there as well. And so you have that. So then the final thing, right, is looking at this guy right here, right? So what we have is NO2 plus H2O yields NO3 minus plus 2H plus an electron. And then at the bottom, right, we have 2 chromium 3 plus 7H2O yields Cr2O7 2 minus plus 14H plus 6 electrons. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip the bottom one. So what we get is Cr2O7 2 minus plus 14H plus 6 electrons yields 2 Cr3 plus 7 H2O in that case. And so now we need to have the number of electrons balance out, right? Because in the bottom reaction now we have 6 electrons on the reactant side, whereas for the top reaction we only have 1 electron on the product side. And so what we have to do is we have to multiply this by 6. So we get a 6 NO2 plus 6 H2O yields 6 NO3 minus plus 12 H plus 6 electrons. In this case, let's A5. Let me just also double check that like I didn't mess up on the key, and that's why people voted on this. 2H2O, 2Br minus plus PbO2 plus 4H plus. Yep, that matches. All right. Right, yep, so all that matches right there. So now we just need to start, combining those two equations together, right? So we have the 6 electrons cancels in those cases. The 12H plus right here cancels. So this gets reduced from 14 down to 2H plus. We have 6H2O right here, 7 right here, right? So that gets reduced down to 1H2O. And so what we have then is everything else looks fine. So we have then 6NO2 plus Cr2O7, 2 minus plus 2H plus yields 6NO3 minus plus 2Cr3 plus H2O, which I believe matches right. 6NO2, Cr2O7 plus 2H2 plus 2Cr3 plus 6NO3 minus plus H2O. Yep, all of that matches. And so let me just also then double check, make sure that right all of the number of all the different atoms matches. I mean, it should. Right, so in terms of nitrogens, right, there's 6 on the left, 6 on the right. In terms of oxygens, we have 6 times 2 plus 7 on the left, so that's 19. On the right, we have 3 times 6 plus 1, that's 19, so that matches. H plus, right, we have 2 hydrogens on the left, we have 2 on the right, so that matches. And then in terms of overall charge, we have 0 on the left, and then on the right we have 0 as well, right? Because we have the 2 minus ion, but we have 2 H pluses on the left, so those cancel out to being equal to 0. And then on the right side, right on the product side, we have 6 nitrates, right? So that's 6 minus charges, but then we also have 2 Cr3 plus, right? So those are then a 6 plus charge, so those all match out, and so that all comes out to being equal to 0. So everything is completely balanced in those cases. So that's the way that you approach it, right? And so if you had flipped the other equations in each one of these cases, right, you can just as well use those again, right? You should still end up with the same number of everything balanced. The only difference is, right, one side is going to have a different one, right? So you always have to make sure that the number of electrons, right? That's always going to be the key thing with any redox thing, is making sure that the number of electrons properly balanced, because then that's going to really tell you, right, what, that should guide you for everything else hopefully being balanced as well, right? As long as all of that stuff was properly written out and things weren't missing. So that's A5.